Are we good with the commissioner's budget?
Well, we have to talk about the supplies, the 25,000. I had penciled in on the commissioner's budget that we were talking about maybe putting that at 15,000. It's for copy paper. If we do that, that's going to be 10,000 that comes off that extra 22,000 that's in there now because they divided it up between departments. I mean, that doing the division between the departments made it grow, $22,000.
And I just don't think that they're gonna, I think everyone gets time. I don't even see me, I think I put 2,000. I'd be lucky if I spent 1,000.
Well, and what I don't want to happen is everybody's gonna have that sitting in there, and they're gonna transfer it out for this and transfer it out for that, and so it's really not being used for office supplies. I would like our office supplies to be flatlined at 75 and figure out how to get there. And I talked to Don about this last night, and I said, I understand him wanting each department to have some accountability when it came to their office supplies, but maybe we when we go back through these budgets, really look at that line item.
I was gonna write them down as we went, just to verify what was going on.
Okay, so, but do we want to take this 25,000 commissioners have in here for copy paper? Do we have any idea how much they've actually spent on copy paper this year?
Right at about 11 or 12, 11,700.
So maybe 20,000.
That would be anything that they're buying. The only thing I think that Don left it big, if some huge reason, some office, something needed purchased, that back fell off that chair or something in the commissioners. I mean, they might actually have to buy something for $500-600. That wasn't normal miscellaneous supplies, if you get what I'm saying. It's just,
Well, they didn't need it last year, you know what I mean?
I know.
Unless they're over now.
And there'll still be some cushion there.
Where are they at on their office supplies now?
We're 10,000 under, I have it up here, so, 36,164.
36,164, and that's what's left of the 75,000.
We have 38,000 left.
38,000 left. See, so I just feel like that is just.
We did a thing
Not
yesterday compared to 2011 through today and 2012. We've saved almost $11,000, and we're saying most of it is between bulk paying, buying of the paper, and using GovPro. But right now we're almost $11,000 under what we spent last year at this time. George and I did that when he was up the other day, and I gave him a report. And I just see it to continue. I mean, we're saving almost $14 a box.
Right, that's what it should happen. I mean, the more efficient we get. Okay, so what do you guys think about this 25,000 that's been budgeted for office supplies, which is gonna mostly be paper?
Well, I'd leave it there.
Yeah, we could take it down to 20 and I'd feel
Yeah.
comfortable with it, but the only thing is, if that's the only place we can kind of pat ourselves.
Okay, so if we leave it there, can we really cut the department's office supplies budgets? And if they happen to run short, they can go to commissioners?
I don't know, they were trying to get that out of the commissioners.
Well, but they have that 25,000 in there, kind of as a
Just
safety
We were
net.
gonna buy bulk paper with that, so we didn't have auditors off. I don't wanna give you a box of paper because I bought it out of my,
Right.
that's like a community thing, buying bulk. Just, if you need it, it's down there in the storage room. It was paid out of the commissioner's budget. It's not by department. Go get it. That's where we're leaving it.
I don't know if you wanna get into that situation where you want them to, they get to spend the money knowing that they could come down and get more money down off the commissioners. I think you'd want them to stay within their budget, as much as possible.
Well, and I think if you just leave them alone and let it go over and then forecast next year, hey, you said you were gonna use 6,000, use the prosecutor, and you only spent 22. Let's bump this down to 3 for 2014. I mean,
Does it show you what was actually spent on office supplies and not other transfers?
for For prosecutor's office?
Cause I know how to transfer money within funds, let me tell you. And I think
You would know
everybody
that
does
when
too.
they requested the transfer and it came before us.
Yeah.
We just transferred for the judge, so we would know.
Right.
I'm transferring $4,000 out of my supply fund to this, this.
Barely
And we
anybody
would know
has
it.
We never
2000
questioned
supply
those.
series.
Yeah.
Who's due 'em.
Yeah.
I mean, that was added in, there was no other line items in that category, so it's gonna come to council. Or I can just say if someone tries to use supply money for another appropriation, that, just make a note that you have to go before
It's not a,
council.
it's not a savings account to use in other areas.
And that's good, really.
Yeah.
We've done that a lot. It save you from getting into additional appropriations.
But what Paula's saying, category wise, like my office, all the treasurer, any normal office didn't have 200 series, the supplies.
Right.
They had wages, normal common 3,000 expenditures, and no one had capital outlay either. So they're not gonna be able just to say, I want that out of supplies to go to travel and expenses.
And
Without
I remember
coming
when
here.
they combined them all, it's in the old days, it's because they had some departments that were buying pictures for the walls, and other departments that were this, and it wasn't monitored, and they wanted it all in one account, so that departments were doing the same thing with this money and they weren't abusing it. So,
That's
you'd
how-
walk into one office and like the treasurer's office, they would own all the paintings on the walls and everything. You go into my office, that's all my own personally owned, because you don't spend county money on that type of thing. So I'm just saying that I would just like to see it stay at 75,000 or lower for all office supplies. I don't care how it gets paid out.
Okay, well, let's go through
Huh?
them and then
Don't care
we'll,
how it's divvied out.
We finished up with commissioners. Everybody set, good with it.
I'm done with
Back to page 1. Circuit Court, any changes?
okay, I just wanna say, I'm gonna take the report that UMPM did and change all the salaries. Are we gonna talk about this later, or are we just gonna say it now? And we're gonna make them what is on that sheet,
Well, that's up to everybody.
as I say,
No,
because
so-
that's gonna be the
Mhm.
biggest changes.
You want to do that now, so that as we go through each department
Yeah,
budget? All right.
I say no to that because I can't do all the figures in my head, I'm gonna have to go take that and go
Well,
back.
and the way that we always did it was
Say it.
because you'd give her the ledger sheets, and she's gonna write them in, and that way it's in her writing, this is how much this person should be paid.
Okay,
And then for every single one of them, that's a good double check for her, and it doesn't take that long. And then you give those sheets back to Jen, and she can enter them in the computer.
right, cause I gotta put it in Gateway and I gotta do a
Yep.
budget projection, and then that's what Vicky said, that she used to get his payroll and make up the sheets to figure all the rest of the stuff.
And Vicky still has those figures because she brought down green ledger sheets, and there was my
She
handwriting right
did.
there,
She
so.
did.
Yeah.
I tweaked it,
Yeah.
so it's your guys'
I gotta
call.
vote on that, so.
Yeah, I think before you proceed on this, on the wages, I think we better determine whether we're gonna give raises.
That's pretty much it.
I mean, if we're gonna do this, or we're not gonna do nothing. Before you worry about what these numbers are, make sure you got support to give a pay raise. Don't you think? That would be the.
That's kind of where I was trying to come first, yeah. Either we do or we don't, or we figure out what percentage it is, right? Bottom line?
I'd like to give one, partially because we're costing them more money on insurance to start with.
I'm gonna make a motion that we don't give a pay raise due to the fact of the increased cost of the insurance. I think that's well enough of, an increase for them to have an insurance like that.
We have a motion on the floor.
I'll second.
We have a second. Any discussion?
Well, we're raising their deductible on their insurance, aren't
No, we didn't raise the deductible, did we?
We raised their premiums.
Raise your premium, but no
Percent.
deductible
Stay the
stays.
percent.
same, not deductible.
Is the deductible 700 still, is that what it was and still is?
Right, but in each individual's checks, wish I would've brought the AGA.
We'll
For
be
someone-
having more taken out.
Right, for someone with family insurance, for, if you don't give them any pay increase, we'll make
It's almost $800.
$787 less next year than they did this year.
I would just like to say that the way it works out with cost of living, you know, you have employees that are paid at market. You know, if you have a field of corn and you're gonna get a price for it, you don't want last year's price, you don't want 3 years ago price, you want the price for corn. And I think employees should be able to expect the same out of their job. We don't pay over, we don't pay under, we pay at market. This keeps us at market through 2013.
With no raise.
But no, with what was presented,
3%.
that 1.0, with like 1.9, 1.7.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Some figures
Yeah.
down there.
And I feel like that it's, regardless of the insurance issue, we need to be able to keep our salaries. We have a lot of money invested in this system. We need to be able to keep our salaries competitive. I was looking at names on the payroll entries and everything. I can't believe people are still here. We keep people here. We don't have to retrain them. And if we do it every year, a little bit every year, 1% or so every year, then it makes it a lot easier to stay current.
Okay.
That's all I say.
I agree, because I've been afraid we're gonna get behind every year if we didn't.
We have a, we have a motion and second that there will be no increase for year 2013 for employee wages, correct? Any additional discussion? Those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed? And motion defeated 4-3.
Okay, at this point, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we, if, depending upon our final numbers, it would be my recommendation that we have these figures submitted into the Green Ledger, the budget, so that we can make a educated determination about our budget. And if we can afford to give raises based on these final numbers, then these are the raises that we give. 1.9% to Comet, 1.31% to Pat, 0.99% to LTC, 1.62% to Poll, 1.7% to SO, and 1.7% to elected.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, I got a question. No, we're open to discussion.
Open for discussion.
Okay,
I can't
now using those percentages that in her motion, and the amount of people in each one of those categories or descriptions, what is that gonna figure out as a total percentage?
It's gonna lower what we have right now that we advertise by the 107,000. There's a budget-wise between using the straight 3% that we have in this book that we've been using, and Paula's thing, it's 107,000 less to go with what Paula's motion was just made,
Okay.
compared to what's in the book.
But that doesn't, okay, I understand that.
Okay,
The
But this
total-
here, you know, there's different, some of these groups got a lot more people than others.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
So there's no, so it's still gonna be, like 1.5% or something, if you weight them all together.
Oh, an average,
Yeah,
okay,
an
I
average.
understand
An
what
average,
you're saying.
that's what I was getting at.
Some years ago, we spent a considerable amount of money setting up this program. And we've lived with it pretty well, and I don't wanna see us get behind on it or ahead. I'd like to see it stay so that we've got an even keel that we're running on. We're doing what we said we were gonna do, and we're treating everybody to the best of our ability fairly.
I think you are with that insurance bill.
I understand.
But I guess you could take the total dollars and divide it by the employees and get a percentage.
Hold on just a minute. I'm getting the average.
at the overall budget increase, if you take the 2000,
Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
1.53, 6666.
1.53.
So you divided up the percentage increases for
Divided
each
by-
job type?
Yep, and divided by 6 categories. Is that what you were asking?
Yes, that's what I was
Your
asking.
increase then went from 3% down to 1.53 by the
Average.
by
Yeah.
cost of living, average.
So we're lower, some are higher.
Okay. We have a motion and second. We have any additional discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by your right hand. Those opposed, the same.
Okay, so it's 4-2 and you're abstaining?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I did not abstain.
Who made the second on it? I didn't hear.
I did.
Bill.
I was in La La Land.
All right. That issue settled? Okay. We are now at circuit court. Any changes?
Besides the wages, right? We're not gonna say the wages.
Yeah.
No,
But the
Wages
judge's supplement, we had moved that down to 1,000.
Wages will be factored and figured in.
I have that at 1,000.
Okay.
I've always wondered, between these two courts, they've got, they proposed 15,000, I think we changed it to 10. And Superior doesn't have any part-time help. You look at the number of cases filed in the two courts, and there's just absolutely no comparison to how many different cases are filed in circuit compared to, or in Superior compared to circuit.
Yeah.
Many times more cases filed in Superior than there is circuit, yet they've got part-time help. They got more staff than the other courts got. I never could understand that. I should have asked the judge when he was here.
Well, they have 3 full-time in circuit and 1 part-time, and they have 4 full-time in Superior.
And look, the number of cases are filed in Superior compared to what fees.
a lot.
What the case differences are.
Well, all small claims go to Superior, for one thing.
Yeah.
Stacks of files come in, stacks of files, daily. They don't have stacks of files coming in. A file's a file regardless of what's in it.
Okay. Other than the wages changes in circuit court, anything else? Superior Court. I show no changes other than wages. Probation.
Probation, we moved that 150 institutional care back into the Cadget fund. Remember, we had the 150, Don wanted it out of there for institutional care from the commissioners, but we felt IC code, and that is underneath that CEDA Cadget commissioner thing to be institutional care for prisoners, so that really needs left where it was and not put out in probation, so it's okay.
All right. Health Department.
Oh, darn it.
We cut the,
11700,
yeah,
cut the part-time out.
Yeah.
Well, I just showed we reduced it by 1,000.
That's
Yeah,
what I
that's what I-
show.
that's
I
what I
took it from
shows.
17 down to
16, that's what I have too. I put a note, county ordinance checking restaurants 3 times a year, Mary Ann McCluskey. So we're just leaving it at 16.